Hariom. So we will begin our class now. It's a small session, but we thought we will take this topic up because many times this topic of the mind comes up. But before we go into it, let's prepare the mind, by chanting Om 3 times and chanting the invocation. Om. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्तजगन्नाथं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओं. Hari Om everyone and very good morning to all of you. So as we said, we are taking up this topic of what? The mind, right? This mind, it somehow for all of us, sometimes it is happy, sometimes it is in a state of agitation, sometimes elation, sometimes depression, stress, and everyone is like, how do I tame this monkey of a mind that I have, right? So therefore this mind, it is not that it is a problem which has just cropped up. This mind has been like this over lifetimes, over ages, and in various ways people try various kinds of sadhanas and want to know how should one tame this mind, right? And this is our topic, and I'll just share the screen, right? Okay, so we'll just answer. Is this visible to all of you? Yeah, so here we go. So what is this mind? And when we are talking of this mind, is it that I am the mind, or is it that I am the one who's holding this mind? Because sometimes I feel that this mind is in control of me rather than me being in control of this mind. So then it is said that, what is this mind? This mind actually is like a flow of thoughts. Those thoughts which arise when I come in contact with the world of sense objects, with not just that, but I have some impressions which are there within me. And these, when they undergo certain circumstance, the mind takes its own roop, its own avatar. Sometimes it is a calm mind, when I have chanted Om 3 times and I am listening to, I'm listening to a satsang, I am in a calm frame of mind. When I'm able to then easily sit down and do some dhyana, right? Other times what happens, there is all, my day begins and there's a lot of things to be done, and therefore its avatar is that of a agitated kartrutva bhav, drutva bhav kind of a mind, right? And then there is that other part of the mind where, whatever I see in the world, I take to be a positive for me to go into this good nature, follow something that makes me happy, makes me prasanna, right? And also benefits all. So that is the positive mind. And then at times, I don't know how or from where these kind of negativities arise in me, and I get angry. Sometimes there is some kind of jealousy, and there is competition, right? Sometimes I feel insecure, and I need to, hold on to what I have, or I have the fear of losing that which, I have acquired with so much of, effort put in. So these kind of thoughts will always keep me busy, right? Be it positive thoughts, be it negative thoughts. When there is elation, I am agitated. When there is depression, yet I am agitated. So, how do I wield this instrument that has been given to me? This mind is not something that I can ignore. Huh? It is like that child which is there. The child is given to me. The child I have to take care of, and this child sometimes, is so beautiful and nice and listening to me all the time. But at times, it has its own way and will just not listen. So how do I then make use of this mind? Hmm. So basically, today's this topic, we thought, we just go through what is the kind of mind map that we are looking at. So there are various texts which take this topic up also. So whereas there is also the Bhagavad Gita, there is also Upanishads such as the Amrita Bindu Upanishad, which covers this topic, especially in the beginning 6 verses. It takes up the mind, and then it moves into how to, once the mind is quietened, how do I move it towards dhyana, right? And when this mind, which is all the time in an activity mode, when it learns to quieten down out of observation, then what happens? Then, to make it quieter, to focus within, we lead it towards this Sakshi Bhava. What is Sakshi Bhava? When we go into this dhyana or meditation, when we are in the beginning stage of it, right? Then that Sakshi Bhava is what we have to take. Right? When we are sitting quietly, we are able to calm our body, we are able to integrate our intellect with the mind. Then what happens? Then we can actually sit quietly and try to observe this mind. In what way? In the form of a witness. So thoughts are coming, thoughts are moving, but I don't actually participate in them to move them further, right? So so that is the Sakshi Bhava, right? And then what happens is, as a result, when I am able to sit in that meditation, when I am able to focus on that Eka Bhava, right? That of me being that consciousness itself, when I am able to fully be in my true nature, then I go beyond this mind. Hmm. So when we say this, right, there is 3 levels to it, right? One is the normal mind state when I am, even though I have begun the journey of a sadhaka, yet, I have miles. It looks like I have miles to go because my mind is just not listening to me, right? So that is the starting pace for us, where we feel that, oh, Bhagwan is telling that you can sit quietly for hours together. You can sit quietly and abide in this knowledge. But when will that happen? Because I am not able to sit in one place. I have to be doing some work or the other. So, will this mind be able to quieten down? Will it be able to reach that Sakshi Bhava? And then further go to this mind or no mind state where I have gone to the beyond, where I am only abiding in my true nature. So, when we are faced with this kind of a dilemma, then our rishis, our gurus, the Mahatmas, they are all telling us that yes, definitely there's a way out. Only you have to put in the effort for it. And it doesn't matter what age we start. Hmm? But we have to start, right? We are those sadhaka who have recognized that there is a problem, but also that there is a solution, and I have to make that effort from today onward, from now onward, right? So when we say again, what is this mind? So it is said that there is, there is this from the first, this is the first verse from Amrita Bindu Upanishad, where it says that there is two types of minds. Manohi dividham proktam shuddham cha shuddhameva cha ashuddham kama sankalpam Shuddham Kama Vivarjitam. So mind is of two types, right? One is the pure mind, Shuddham, and the other is Ashuddham. Manohi Dvividham Proktam, Shuddham cha Ashuddham eva cha. Right? So there is the pure mind and there is the impure mind. And what is the distinguishing factor between the two, if you would ask? The impure mind is full of desires, whereas the pure mind has calmed down and there is no desire in it. And therefore it is calmed down. Therefore it is at peace. Therefore it is at that state where it is at ease. Right now it is at dis-ease, when different kinds of thoughts are there, arising out of what? Arising out of desires, various desires which are there. Where there is kama, right? Kama is desires. And there is sankalpa. Sankalpa as in there is some kind of fanciful thoughts that arise out of that desire, right? Which means that I want to, when the desire, when I see an object, right? It is not that each object, it is not that the object is going to, make me have it, but it is more that I have a vasana, right? I have an inclination, I have a deep impression which says, oh, I like that. So when I say that, oh, I like that, what does it mean? So when I go to a supermarket, maybe I have gone with the thought that I am going to get a list of things. But what happens? I see a host of other things, right? And something in that catches my eye. And then there is some salesperson, and that salesperson says even more, good things about it. And then what happens? My mind catches the fancy. So there is sankalpa, at oh, this, it is going to give me joy. It is going to give me happiness. So let me have it. So when that let me have it comes into my mind, then the whole cycle continues from from desire to thought to, fanciful wanting of that object, and then further to acting on that thought, saying that yes, I should get it, I need it. Then if I say I need it, and then if I don't get it, there is anger, krodha. So then kama, sankalpa, krodha, and then out of anger, what happens? Out of anger, my buddhi is brashta, my buddhi is nashta, right? And when I'm not able to think, then I will do something which is regretful, right? I lose track of what I actually wanted to do. So thus what happens? This mind is putting us in these kind of agitations. Even if I get that object, right? Even if I get that object, what will happen? Oh, what if someone takes it away from me? So then, or even then, I might say that I want more. That lobha also arises out of that, right? If someone else has got it, then matsara, envy. He. Why did he get it? I paid so much attention and I wanted that, and someone else got it, right? So, this kind of a mind, which is all the time in agitation, all the time needing things, all the time in stress, tension, anger, dejection, right? This is a impure mind. Hmm. And this kind of mind is full of desires, right? Whereas that mind which is pure, which has no desires, how is it? It is content, it is happy, it is fulfilled, it is cheerful. And out of that happiness only, this mind is working in the world for the benefit of all, right? And that is how our sadhus, our mahatmas were working for the benefit of all, though they were themselves fulfilled, right? Whereas when it comes to us, what happens is that we, out of our desire, are working. And therefore, what is the inborn tendency? Inborn tendency is that I am incomplete, and therefore I have to go to the world of objects for gaining that eternal happiness. Whereas the world of objects is such that it is always in the of the nature of change, and it is never going to give me satisfaction, right? Because that which itself is not complete, how can it give me completeness? So basically, what are we doing? We are acting out of desire, but more importantly, we are not seeing what is that source of problem within me. That what is it that is making me go out and act outside? What is it that is causing this kind of desire? Right? So this is the inborn defect that we are all born with. What is that? That our equipment itself is telling us that, oh, you are not complete, you are limited, and therefore you have to go out in the world and gain more, right? Gain more so that you are fulfilled, so that you have that satisfaction and you have endless happiness, right? So what is this three defects that we are born with? So to begin with, there is the vikshepa, or agitation, or this restlessness, distraction. Huh? So from where is it arising? It is arising from this mala. Hmm. So this vikshepa is born of mala. Mala is what? Impurity. This impurity is what it is expressing as my likes and dislikes, my desires, my extrovertedness, anger, jealousy, all that we saw right now. That is what is causing this mind to be restless. Hmm. And what is this mala stemming from? Hmm? This mala is coming from ignorance or ajnana, right? This ajnana or this desire, huh, which is surfacing as that I want something, right? I want something. Why? Because I feel that I am incomplete. Hmm. Whereas what are the scriptures telling me, what are the gurus telling me? That I am that eternal happiness, I am that consciousness, I am ekameva advitiya. Hmm? I am that one. So from me only everything is arising. This entire world is born of me, this entire creation is born of me. Whereas what have I done? I have thought myself to be this limited being with limited actions, with limited desires and limited fulfillment. And therefore, I am ever at unrest. Therefore, there is always a restlessness. Why? Because inborn, right, or inherent, my nature is what? That of completeness, of infinity, right? And no matter how much finitude I add up, I might attain the highest pinnacle of success in the world. I might get recognized, by people. I might become very popular, and my location, right? What is that? That need, urge for popularity, no? It is fueled enough, But still, what? I am feeling incomplete. Why? Because I am identifying with that which the world is giving me, right? Whereas I am the substratum of this world, right? There is no achievement in this world which is giving me this identity of being that Brahman, that big, which is all. So, therefore, it is my ajnana, my ignorance, which is stemming the mala, right? What is that mala? Impurity, which is giving rise to all these kind of negative emotions within me, which is giving rise to the restlessness and distractions of the mind. Hmm. So, first thing is what I have to distinguish, that I am not this mind. Okay, I am not this mind, but I am that wielder of this mind. Mane, I am the one who is having this instrument of the mind, right? And this same instrument. So, would you say that? Oh, do you mean to say that mind don't mind? So, how do we address this? So, when we say this, what it means is, when I come in contact with the world, right? This mind is going outward. Why? Because within me also is this vasanas, right? The inborn impressions which have gathered over lifetimes. Ah, and these inborn impressions, when they come across a conducive or atmosphere, they will surface. Hmm. So when I see ice cream and I say that, oh, I love that, so that I love that, right? That raga I have towards it, right? Which will be what raga matlab? I have some kind of attachment towards that. So what should I do? I have money in my pocket and the ice cream is right in front of me. Why not indulge? So chalo, right? And then what happens? Maybe that day, that machine, no, in which, that fridge in which that ice cream was stored, the power went off. So it melted. And then it is not tasting the same. And I said, Array, this is not the same. Yeah, what is this? What have you given me? Right? So here, what happens? The dislike arises. Hmm. So next time I might pass the same shop, but I will say that no, caution, this ice cream fellow doesn't keep store that ice cream well. So immediately my mind will say, no, I don't want here, right? I might take the ice cream, but I might take it somewhere else. So like this, we keep associating our mind with the sense objects and acting on them, and what further for whichever object, for whichever place, for whatever situations we encounter, for whatever people that we come across. So this is the cycle that we get into, and this trap keeps us there from time to time. But then how do I come out of it? Huh? Because it seems to be like an endless pattern. Hmm. But if you have recognized this pattern, then great. Raise your hand, pat yourself on the back, right? That you have at least started on that path where you say that I know where my mind is taking me, but I need not go there, right? So what is then is the solution is that I recognize, become aware, and work intelligently towards it, right? So are we living? So we recognize that this mind is both pure and impure. Pure is what? Pure is that which is desireless, and impure is what? That which is full of desires, right? So then we have to try and recognize, am I living out of my wrong notions, that of seeing completeness outside of me, or am I living out of full intelligence which has recognized that happiness is within me? I don't have to project it outside on objects and get bound, right? So this is something that I have to reflect on a daily basis. Okay? What is the pattern that I am seeing in my thinking? And how do I withdraw from it? Hmm. Not that I, completely withdraw. Then what happens? Suddenly there will be one full gush of I want this and I will take this, right? So what we have to do is we have to identify how our mind is functioning and slowly give it something higher to hold on to. It's like it's like a child, right? You don't want the child to play in a certain place or play with a certain object. Therefore what do? You give him a much more appealing kind of a toy, and you say, sit here, play with this, right? Then the child leaves that other gadget, and it says, okay, let me sit here and play, right? So too, this is the mind, and we have to kind of rope it in so that it does what we want it to do. But for that, our intellect has to become supreme, right? So here, this verse, second verse from Amrita Bindu Upanishad, which says, "Mana कारणं बन्धमोक्षयोः बन्धाय विषयासक्तं मुक्तैः निर्विषयं स्मृतम्." So when do we become free of this bondage of the mind towards objects? When we are able to detach from the world of objects. So what is required then? So मन को विषयों से निकालो, विषय विषय आसक्ति निकालिए, और मन को कहाँ डाले? Put it, attach it to that higher. Detach from the lower to attach it to the higher. But this has to be a constant practice on a daily basis till we get into that mode, right? So when I'm free of desires from sense objects, then the mind is free and available, right? Because you can't keep the mind free also, because the mind needs something to hold on to, right? Therefore give it something higher to hold on to. So even if if I love working, then what should I do? I should do that which I love doing. Okay? Like when we say swadharma, right? What is swadharma? That I recognize that which my mind is inclined to do. It could also be my mind is inclined to take care of my family, right? And do good things for the benefit of my family. Or as I go higher up, I say that my family is not restricted to only my circle of people, but I extend this family circle. That it is not just the 3-4 people around me, but maybe a bigger community, and then I serve them in a different way, right? So like this, when I learn to expand it, I give it more channels to do good things, then that mind will become purer. Then that mind will drop that attachment for what? For this ego. That ahankara also has to be dropped. That ahankara has to be sublimated. It has to be saying that, okay, I am doing this for the service of all. So, oh Bhagwan, you bless me. With what? With this buddhi, right? Subuddhi of what? Ishwara Arpana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi. So what is Ishwara Arpana Buddhi? Whatever I am doing, I offer it to the Lord. Right? I am doing it as worship unto the Lord, and then as a result, what I get, I take it as prasad. So there is no kind of agitation ki why did I get this? I had done my best. Then why did it come to me like this? Right? So when we say Ishwar Arpan Buddhi, there is that devotion, there is that reverence, there is that love, there is that unconditional giving, right? In a attitude of surrender to that Lord. So when we say this, right, we have to know that Arey, but I have come to this class to learn Vedanta. Why you're telling me bhakti and all, right? So here, then when we ask, ki, isn't knowledge enough? You know, the Upanishads are saying that. What is the Upanishad saying? That Aham Brahmasmi, right? The Upanishad is saying Aham Brahmasmi or Tattvamasi. So what is it saying? It is saying that there is only one, there is no many, right? So isn't this knowledge enough, sufficient to, you know, make me peace and calm? Or isn't it enough that I do yoga half an hour daily or 1 hour daily, that I go for a walk, that I do good deeds? Isn't that sufficient? Then it says that first let us look at as this system that we have. Huh? So are you able to see this chart? It is called the BMI chart. Huh? So where Om or the Om is that it indicates that highest. Okay, what we call the Brahman, right? Or what we call that universal Purusha, or where what we say is that consciousness, which is in me, which is in you, which is that oneness alone, right? So that Om is signifying that. But sitting between that Om uh, and my body, mind, intellect equipment is this vasanas. So what are those vasanas? They are like those seeds which are waiting for the conducive atmosphere to be sprouted, right? When we say sprouted, what do you mean? So, just like if you sow the seeds, it requires good amount of good soil, it requires manure, it also requires sufficient sunlight, and then somewhere that ankur will come, that it will sprout. And when it will sprout, then it will go branch out, right? So too these vasanas are there, right? These vasanas are what? They are earlier impressions which have been formed. So I had some experience before which was good or which was bad. Good will keep me wanting for more, and bad will say, no, 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 stay away from this, right? But when I say no, 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 I am also repeating it, right? So that also becomes a vasana. So this is forming our raga and dvesha. So the moment there is a conducive atmosphere, the vasana will sprout unexpectedly out of the blue. And that will give rise to that desire. And that desire, when there is some kind of fanciful thinking around it. Fanciful mane kya? Means I'm not thinking intelligently. I'm just allowing my thought train to move, right? And I say, okay, I like this. So let's go for it. Or I say that, no, let's stay away and consciously stay away from it, right? So these two, they come into play, right? And that is what is causing some kind of agitation where in my mind. And if my mind is, so powerful where a lot of thoughts are coming, and each time I let the thought train take me away from my object of object or purpose of living, which is what I have got this human birth. And in this human birth, I have the intelligence, right, of this intellect, which can discriminate between what is good, what is bad, what I should do, what I should not do. And if I am able to observe the mind, then I recognize a pattern, then I can also break away from that pattern, right? So that is this power of this intellect, right, which is an educated mind. But if my mind is immature and it is saying that chalo, let's go, be with the flow, na? Who is going to live again and again? Enjoy, be happy, right? But that be happy when it comes to objects is limited, right? It is just temporary happiness which is going to lead to what? Some kind of pain, some kind of sorrow, which is not going to give me lasting happiness. Therefore, I am stuck in this cycle between my body, mind, and intellect, right? Between being perceiver, perceiver of objects through my body and my senses, between being a mind, which is a feeler, feeler of what? Feeler of emotions. They might be good emotions, they might be bad emotions, right? But basically, that mind is just that feeler. And whatever emotions arise, we tag them as good or bad, right? And then you have the intellect, which is thinker, which is contemplating on the thoughts which arise. Hmm. But what we don't see is that if I have the awareness of these thoughts, then I also have the power to stop that thought train or direct it towards something which is higher. Or not just that, but I also have the power to regulate my quantity of thoughts as well as quality of thoughts. Hmm. How do we know this? Well, normally, how does the mind function? The mind functions when it comes in contact with the world of objects. Hmm. And when I go to sleep, what happens? When I am in deep sleep, no thought, right? And the mind is at ease. And therefore, when I wake up in the morning, I am feeling nice, fresh. I had a kind of a refresher. I slept well. I don't know where I was, but I just felt like I'm fully recharged and able to take on the next day, right? Whereas that same mind, when it is with the objects, always chattering. Let's do this. We have to today. I have to finish this work. I have to finish my exercise cycle. I have to submit, whatever reports. I have to take care of the kids. I have to work on my long-term project. So all the time the mind is restless. When it is in this Jagrata Avastha, where I am in the waking state, where I am engaging with the world. So too in my dream, what happens? Whatever I had started in my waking state and I was not able to complete, right? Or some thoughts which I started, couldn't complete, but was moving towards again and again, they fructify as that dream, right? And there too, the mind is busy in that matter connection, right? So, this is how our equipment works. So, again, going back to can Vedanta help me? Isn't the knowledge that I am that Brahman or I am that one sufficient? And if it is sufficient, then why am I not happy? Because Vedanta is saying that I am happiness. So here then says that yes, Vedanta is telling me the truth alone, and the gurus are telling me the right thing. But am I ready for this knowledge? You know, because I've got so much this body, this mind, this this karana avastha, the which karana sharira which I have, the causal body is full of vasanas, waiting to erupt. Right? My subtle body, sukshma sharira, is also of that outgoing nature, right? Because my body is in contact with the senses and sense objects. So, first, what do I have to do? I have to prepare this equipment, which is right now full. This mind, it is full, and therefore it is not able to retain that small bit of information which has come into it, which is telling it, oh mind, you are not my master, but you are my instrument which I will use to recognize my own nature and abide in it. But for that, what is important is I have to empty out this mind, right? But this mind is how? This mind is that which always seeks more. It just keeps seeking more and more and more. And therefore, what is first important? We have to polish it. We have to remove its impurities, then make it impurities are what? In the form of desires. So we have to curb these desires. Then if you say that won't karma work, we are saying karma yoga and all that, won't karma work? So again over there, karma, any action that I do is going to result in more actions, right? Because that action is going to give me a result of that action. That karma phala will come, right? And if I like that action, because I'm so focused on that action, I like it and I'm doing it for a result that I am looking forward to, expecting. So my expectations are there whenever I am acting, whenever I want. I need for what? For that happiness alone. So any action I do is going to result in more, right? So therefore, what do? I take the path of karma yoga, where I again, what did we say? What is karma yoga? Ishvara arpana buddhi and prasada buddhi. So these I have to first ingrain in my mind. And hey mind, first you keep that higher altar in mind. Who is that Ishtar, or who is that to whom I am offering all my actions? And through that dutifulness towards that Lord, I will act in the world outside. So again, for that, what is important? More sadhana is required, in terms of not just karma but also some amount of upasana, which will give me purity, right? So karma yoga definitely is going to give me chitta shuddhi, that will result in polishing of this equipment, right? But still these impurities are there. So what do I have to do further? I have to put effort through sadhana to discipline this mind, right? So this sadhana, in what forms can I do? So the scriptures tell us yajna, dana, tapa, vrata, tirtha, japa. So when we say yajna, again, what is yajna? This is same as, it is not just the havan that we do. So this yajna that we are saying, or the sacrifice that we are saying, is what? Is in the form of worship to the Lord. How? This worship to the Lord is by serving its people. Whatever I do it to my 100%. Right? I do my best and I leave the rest. So, not just at the place of puja, but also in my duties towards the world, right? Be it my family, be it my country, be it the world at large. I think of this world as Vasudeva Kutumbakam. And more with that, when I say Vasudeva Kutumbakam, what it means is that I see this as one inclusive place. One inclusive place where I am not the only one, but everything that is there in it has this spirit of oneness. And why is that? Because not only is that consciousness which is enlivening me, which is giving me the ability to think, to appreciate his creation, this creation, it is that which is also present in all beings in this creation, right? Be they animate or inanimate, be they chara or achara. So all of that is his glory alone. So instead of, seeing that name and form, I see it as that Bhagwan alone, right? And I serve him, right? So therefore, whatever work I do as service to the Lord of Lords, right? Service to the people is the service to the Lord of Lords. Then when you say dana, right? So dana is what? Normally when we say that we are doing dana, so this ego somewhere feels that, I am that giver, right? But here we have to say that we have to have that humility when we are doing that dana, right? It is like, when we do the shraddha karma, people say, wait, sometimes that crow has to be fed. And no matter what, you have kept the best of, best quality rice, etc. over there. But sometimes that crow will not come also. Huh? But then you will say that, but why is this happening? And then somewhere you will see in the side, somewhere someone else has kept, but that crow came and went and took it and went. Right? So, where has to be that purity? The purity should be here, in that humility when I am giving, saying that I am not the data, I am but the person who has been given sufficient so that I can give the world. And when I give more, I will also get more. So even the person who is giving should have the humility that someone has come to take that bhiksha. Without that bhikshuk, I cannot give this dana also. Right? So when I do dana, that humility has to be factored in. Then when we say tapa, what is the tapa going to give? Tapa is going to, tapa doesn't mean that, I go sit or stand with, my hands folded up and one leg up, and then for years together I will do chanting. No, whatever practice I take as sadhana, I do it with single pointed focus. Like Swami Taponji Maharaj, the guru of Swami Chinmayananji, he used to say that this, what grihasthas are given, that life, right? Performing that nitya karma, that duty, by offering it to the Lord, keeping that Lord in mind at all times, that itself is tapa. That we do it with that bhavana, where we give our 100% to it, right, without any complaints. Fine, this has come to me, I have to do it, right? But I need not complain. Why is it cold? Why is it too hot? Right? अरे why is this food, प्रसाद के लिए बनाया, क्यों उसमें तीखा ज्यादा डाला? But it has come as prasad, so let's have it, right? Or whatever work has come. So this titiksha has to be there, right? And this titiksha will come out of what? Out of that maturity, right? That bhava of acceptance should be there in all we do. So without expectation, when we do this, then what happens? Then we are doing that tapa in the right way. Where we are not getting agitated. Because the moment we insist, the moment we complain, what are we doing? We are expressing our displeasure. And when we are expressing our displeasure, what are we doing? We are going away from our true nature of completeness, where there is no fulfillment required, where there is only that oneness. So, what am I doing? I am just becoming that restless mind. And our sadhana is what? Our sadhana is to be that mind which is at ease. So, that is the tapa. And so too is this vrata. Vrata is what? Doing some upvas or keeping up our positivity. Right? And how do I keep up this positivity? That I have to decide what kind of sadhana I can do, what kind of vrata that I can do, so that keeps me closer to my goal of being sama and not be agitated, right? Otherwise what happens, sometimes we do some upasana, etc., like doing upavasa. And then what happens? Oh God, today I am doing upvas, so I am not going to eat. So that whole thought is so all consuming that it might result in some kind of anger, right? Whereas that is not the objective of doing this upvas. Upvas means what? Staying close to that Lord. Upavasa, staying close to that higher, right? So when I am taking up vrata, I have to keep in mind what is the attitude with which I am performing it, right? So this is vrata. So having that endurance, that willpower of disciplining this mind. So too, sometimes we say that I will do monam. But what happens? And monam is so that we quieten that inner chatter and not just our external chatter, right? So what should we first do on that mona? The new form of mona should be that I will switch off my phone for a day and keep it aside. Not just for a day, I should choose times in the day when I can quieten that mind by keeping aside that phone. Hmm? And focusing on whatever work is at hand. Then there is what? Then there is tirtha. Now, tirtha is a beautiful concept which is brought into our culture, where we say that we do pilgrimage. And not just in Indian culture, it is there in all cultures, right? All religions provide this kind of a space where we say that for this much time, I will go to this pavan place, right? Pavan place where means some place where I will go away from my normal routine and be in that higher thought. Okay. So when we say this, then what should we not do? There has to be some discipline even to that. When I'm doing travel, oh, I will go from flight to here to there. Then I will, there are cars arranged, there are cooks there. So I will eat good this food, that food, and then I will go for darshan. And I have got VIP darshan. So I will. So what happens? Where is that objective of tirtha? Right? So tirtha also, when we say tirtha, it need not be that I physically go and move somewhere, right? Of course, that physical going to any place, such as the, sangam of rivers, or such as going to Kashi, etc., that has its own energy, right? But it should not agitate me. It should be something that I do so that I come out of my routine and I keep my mind only in this Bhagavad chanting, right? Bhagavad Smarana. That is all I have to do. And that for that I can go and sit, in some place and do, listen to the Bhagavatam or do some good study in solitude, right? So what am I doing in Tirtha? I am seeking nobility through satsanga, be it outside satsanga, but more importantly, satsang with my thoughts, where I maintain one train of thoughts and those are directed towards that higher. Then what other or highest sadhana is there is this japa. What is japa? Japa is maintaining one steady stream of thought. One steady stream of thought, mane, you will say that, Are, I have got a steady stream of thought, it just doesn't stop only. Yes, that does, but where is that going? It is directed outside. But what we have to do is, when we take this japa, right, we have to keep it steadily centered on that Bhagwan, right? And that will bring that single pointed focus, and that will also result in purity. Because right now, how is our mind? It's like this. From one thought, it is going to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. It is carrying us away. But what do we want to do? We want that Bhagwan to be our chariot, Lord Krishna to be our charioteer, and take us to that one realm of that Brahman alone. Right? So japa can and is a powerful means to do that for us. Right? So next level is what? Is dhyana. Right? And when will that dhyana come about? When I have not just trained my instrument, but I have also seen to it that I have done enough of self-inquiry. Self-inquiry mane kya? That is that chitta shodhanam. Chitta shodhanam means what? Chitta shodhanam is that I seek that highest, and that is through that jnana marga. So as we say, nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitram iha vidyate. There is no greater purifier than knowledge. And when we say knowledge here, it means that path of self-inquiry or that jnana marga, right? But how will it come about? Tat swayam yoga samsiddhim kalenatmani vindate. right? That will come to us when we are purified and able to retain that knowledge. Otherwise, what will happen? We'll only get karana shuddhi. I am going and listening to that satsang only, right? My ears are getting purified, my karana shuddhi happens. And then later what? Later I am so much drawn to my work, there's so much business, etc. So no, right? What has to happen parallelly? The sadhana has to happen, and with that the knowledge also has to come about, and with that only the steady japa will also happen when our mind is focused on that one ishta, right? And then what? Then so when the mind is purified, when there is chitta shuddhi through karma yoga, through upasana, there is single pointedness, chitta ekagrata. Then what? Then the desires will become less, because that one desire for that highest becomes strongest. So we have to do what? We have to make that one desire or that one vasana for that highest strong. We have to make that prabal, so that the mind is not any longer wavering towards objects, but wavering to go only to that higher. So when it is going towards the higher, there is no wavering, there is only that single pointedness, right? But for that, efforts are required. So for that, those efforts, how long do I do it? सतु दीर्घकाल नैरंतर्य सत्कार आसेवित दृढ़ भूमि, right? So dirghakala, continuous, right? Nairantarya, without any breaks, without any gaps. It doesn't mean that I started today and I will do it after 1 month when I again remember. No, I will schedule that satsang. No, once a year I am going for a camp. No, daily you have to bring it into your thought. Only then that desire or that vasana for that big will become a strong imprint, and will consciously, day and night, when I rise up, when I'm going to bed, it will come to me. Who am I doing all this for? For that Lord. Who is this karma phala data, who has made it so that this consciousness is alert to it, right? And therefore, when this happens with a lot of devotion, then asevitaha, then what will happen? It will become strong and result in a brahmakara vritti. Instead of a vishayakara vritti, it will transform into a brahmakara vritti that will take root in within us. And thus what will happen? No longer that mind is going to go outward, right? It is not, then I don't have to keep minding the mind, right? Because no longer that mind will get prominence, the mind will become shanta, right? And mind will become shiva, auspicious. Shantam shivam advaitam, right? That is what we are seeking, right? So then that mind itself will identify with that end goal that I am seeking, right? So is this very difficult, right? I have got so, then Bhagwan, even our Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji, he in this Panduranga Ashtakam, he says, he gives the anecdote of Vithal Maharaj. He is standing like this, he's standing with his hands on his waist, and he is telling that I am waiting for you, you come. Whereas the bhakta is saying that, hey Bhagwan, I am in this river, and this river is separating me from you. How do I come to you, Bhagwan? I don't know. It looks so impossible. I am so impure. How will I reach you? So he says, Bhagwan is saying that I am standing on the banks waiting for you. You come. That water that you are thinking, that impurity that you are thinking, it is only knee deep. So just cross over and you can come to me, right? So why do we say, right, our culture again, what is said is that Go and Ganga nahao. If what for what? For clearing all your papa. Papa udhau pariduyata. Right? Get rid of your papas. How? Go and go to Tirtha, go to those Sangam, take a dip and let go of your sins. So, what is actually they are telling? Is it an actual removal of this impurity? No. What it is saying is that Jnana Ganga, which is there, which is ever pure, how will it come to me? When I keep myself immersed in it. When I keep going towards it, immersed in it, right? Knowing what? This impurity of the mind is only skin deep. But I have to cross over from that. I have to drop it. And I say, okay, right now anger came. Let me use it. Let me use it well. But let me not get disturbed with it. Right? If lobha came, right? Greed came. So why did it come? Oh, it came because I thought of myself first and I thought of everything else behind. Doesn't matter. Change the mode of thinking, change the perspective. Let me do my best for everyone's benefit, not just keeping my benefit in mind. Right? So, this sankalpa that I am doing right now, I have to change it from selfish desires to selfless desires. Right? For the benefit of all. And thus, when I function, what will happen? Slowly the impurities will vanish. I have to just change the perspective. Hmm. So this is what we thought we'll take up. So there's a combination of two texts, which I was thinking of while doing this. It was one is the text is Amrita Bindu Upanishad, from which we saw two mantras, right? And the other train of thought is also from Manashodhanam, right? So point is that we want to go from where? From minding the mind all the time, this exercise will have to be done, right? And at the same time, at the next level, when the mind becomes quieter, what has to be done? It has to be engaged in that dhyana of single pointedness, where we take up that sakshi bhava. And later, when again it becomes thinner, that mind becomes even more thinner, then what happens? And slowly, sahaja samadhi comes about. And everywhere I go, what do? Yatra yatra manoyati tatra tatra samadhaya. Wherever I go, wherever this mind goes, it stops going outward. It just sees everywhere that Lord's hand alone. It sees that consciousness alone in everything. Right? So definitely there is going to be that improvement in all of us, but we have to constantly Satu Nairantaryan. I mean, constantly, we have to put efforts towards that purification, right? And this, how will it come about? Through Guru Bhakti. So, where is Bina ye Jnana kahare manava? Guru Bina, there is no dheya. This dheya also, this journey alone is meaningless, right? So when we develop that Guru Bhakti and let that Guru guide us in this journey to that ultimate, then we will be not just allowing our mind to guide us, but our Guru, who will then transform into our intellect, guide us to that Bhagwan who is waiting for us. So this was the satsang. If you have any questions in mind, do let me know. You can put it in the chat. We have different courses that will help you further in exploring this mind. At a higher level, you can also Laghu Vakyavritti and others. Yeah, someone has raised hand. Yes. Yes, Ravindra ji, please go ahead. Ravindra ji, you want to ask a question? Okay, Brijesh Chaurasia ji.
हरिओम। हरिओम जी।
अरे
ये एक पूछना था, ये बहुत अच्छा लगता है ये। हर संडे को कर सकते हैं? हर संडे को होता है?
ये जो है महीने में एक बार होता है,
अच्छा
लास्ट संडे में। महीने का जो लास्ट संडे है तब
हाँ।
ये 10 से 11 तक, या वी हैव दिस क्लास फ्रॉम 10 to 11।
अच्छा, हर लास्ट संडे।
यस यस।
यदि अच्छा हो सके। अच्छा, तो बाकी और भी तो है चिन्मय मिशन के, वो भी मतलब हर सैटरडे संडे कुछ ना कुछ होता ही रहता है, तो वो ज्वाइन कर सकता हूँ?
हर सैटरडे संडे कुछ ना कुछ होता है, और इसके अलावा हमारे कोर्सेज भी है। हाँ,
हाँ
जैसे फाउंडेशन वेदांता, एडवांस वेदांता,
वो मैं कर चुका हूँ भाई।
और
दो।
also we also have the Swadhyay series of courses, like
हाँ
there is also a Swadhyay series on the Amrita Bindu
हाँ
Upanishad,
हाँ, करेक्ट।
and maybe I will be taking up a webinar on Manashodhanam, where we can explore this full topic in detail.
जरूर।
हाँ,
बहुत
रविंद्र जी
धन्यवाद।
आप कुछ बोल रहे थे?
Yes.
You have to unmute yourself, Ravindra ji.
Now you are listening me.
हाँ, I can hear.
Yeah. मैं ये जानना चाह रहा था कि भाव जो चीज है ये अंतःकरण के किस हिस्से से उठाते हैं?
भाव जो है वो मन में होता है ना, तो वो मन में आता है। मन
बुद्धि से भाव निश्चयात्मक होकर नहीं उठता।
तो बुद्धि से क्या उत्पन्न होता है? बुद्धि से ज्ञान उत्पन्न होता है, राइट? और इफ आई जो फीलिंग्स जो बोलते हैं ना, भाव, वो इमोशंस जो है वो मन के द्वारा आते हैं।
यानी परमात्मा में मन लगने का मतलब है कि मन से परमात्मा की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं।
यस, इसलिए मन ही वो जो है वो इंस्ट्रूमेंट है जिससे हम परमात्मा से कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं ना। तो इसलिए भक्ति जो है वो मन को केंद्रित करती है ईश्वर में, और ज्ञान जो है वो बुद्धि से इस मन को ईश्वर के यहाँ पहुंचाते हैं। हाँ, तो ऐसे है। Okay. Okay. I would also like to show you all a video of Gurudev, and then we'll conclude.
Naturally, the work becomes excellent. Excellent work shall produce excellent results. We cheat ourselves from our successes by our unintelligent dissipation of the mind in our over-anxiety for the fruits thereof. Krishna is giving a tip to Arjuna. Here is a wonderful field for you to achieve. And in achieving, do your duty. Fight out the battle. Let every arrow go and hit the point that you want to hit. Don't worry about the future. Don't evaluate that their army is larger than our army. Don't dissipate and distract your mind. Keep your mind calm and serene. Your anxiety must be excellence, is the goal. Learn to work thus with your mind where your hands are working. We don't do it. We work with our hand, our mind is wandering all over. So the hand that is working is a mindless hand. Mindless hand cannot afford to expect any great results. Think. Keep your mind where your hands are functioning. Be here now and act. We are never here. We are everywhere, but not here. Either we are wandering in the past, I should not have done it, I don't know why I did it. Or you are in the future, will I get the result, etc. You are never here and now. Think. Learn to be here and now. Hold your mind and your attention in the awareness. There where the hand is doing a job. The performance will become excellent. Excellent performance will always give you excellent results. Here is a tip for how to achieve excellent results with your work. Continue.
Did you know that learning Microsoft Power
smartest move to making a career right now? Because
Sorry about that. Yeah. Someone else had also raised their hand, and we'll just take that one question. Preeti Kumarji. Yes, Preeti Kumarji, you want to ask something? Yeah.
Hari Om, Manashuddhi and Antakarana Shuddhi, are they same? Always will hear Antakarana.
Yes. Yeah.
Antakarana is
So,
also-
Antakarana Shuddhi and Manashuddhi is the same, right? So, the mind, the Mana, the Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara, they form the components of the Antakarana, right? And here Chitta is what? Chitta is that memory. Mind is where the thoughts keep coming. Sankalpa, Vikalpatmaka, Manaha. Right? There is decision, there is indecision. Then there is Buddhi. Buddhi is where decisions are made. Right? It is that which has gained knowledge, it is mature, and therefore is giving direction. Right? So, and then there is the Chitta, which is memory. And Ahankara is that ego which is owning up all these thoughts.
Hari Om.
So that's
Thank you.
So, shall we conclude now? Thank you everyone for coming. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Hari Om. Thank you.